I worked tirelessly, juggling multiple jobs to save for a house. Then I caught my poor girlfriend, decked in an over 8 million diamond ring, living as a socialite. She forced me to kneel and lick the spilled wine, laughing that she was just experiencing life. I was blind to the truth back then, but in the end, she was the one begging on the streets, her legs crippled. I was holding a platter when I overheard people talking nearby. Miss Beaumont is so lucky, wealthy and beautiful, the Beaumont Corporation won't fool with her around. Absolutely. Look at the ring on her finger, a yellow diamond, over 8 million. Wow. I heard Vivienne Beaumont is very dedicated. She rents an apartment near the company, and at such a young age, she's become the richest woman in Fairfield. I wonder which lucky guy she'll end up marrying in the future. Someone like her will definitely have an arranged marriage. Dating is one thing, but marriage. It'll have to be someone from a matching family background, of course. My mind buzzed. Vivienne Beaumont, how could I have not realized it? Looking back at our time together, she hadn't been without flaws. For instance, all her handbags were designer brands, but she told me they were knockoffs. I spent a month's salary buying her a designer handbag, and while she said she loved it, she only carried it once. When I asked her about it, she said it was her first time receiving such an expensive handbag, and she couldn't bear to use it. Now, thinking back, it wasn't that she couldn't bear to, she simply didn't care for it, and I had to be grateful to her for protecting my pitiful self-esteem. I clenched my fists, silently swallowing the bitterness in my heart, and watched her from across the crowd. She was so radiant, so dazzling. This was the real her. And my small apartment, to her, must have been a cage. How could a distinguished Miss Beaumont, born into luxury, possibly live in a place like that? I shook my head and turned to walk away. When the banquet ended, I still had to clean up and return the uniform. Back at my place, Vivienne Beaumont had already showered. Seeing her in cotton pajamas, worth only a few dollars, sitting cross-legged in front of her laptop, an inexplicable heaviness settled in my heart. Vivienne Beaumont looked up at me and smiled faintly. When she saw me, "You are back. There's fruit on the table, you should wash up and rest early." I didn't move, I just took a deep breath. "Vivienne Beaumont, how much was that gown? Doesn't it feel awkward for you to stoop so low and stay here with me?" Vivienne Beaumont showed no panic. She closed her laptop and said slowly, "You saw everything." "Yes. While you were surrounded by them, being flattered. I was serving drinks right across from you." Vivienne Beaumont, was it fun? A rich socialite experiencing life, so you just found me to be your NPC? Vivienne Beaumont shrugged. "Since you know, I won't hide it anymore. Yes, I was experiencing life, and I haven't gotten tired of it yet. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of it. Please leave, we are breaking up." Without another word, I opened the door for her to leave. "I guess you don't care for the cheap things I bought anyway. Just go." Vivienne Beaumont frowned, looking displeased. "Are you serious?" "Yes. Get out." I could accept her being poor, and I could accept her being a rich socialite, but I could not accept her deceiving me. Did experiencing life give her the right to play with my feelings? Every time I envisioned a beautiful future with her, even thinking about settling down in this city, and buying her a big house, Vivienne Beaumont would just smile without saying a word. Back then, I thought she was shy. Now, I realize it was disdain. How could Miss Beaumont of the prominent Beaumont family ever lack a place to live? My humble self-esteem had nowhere to hide in front of her. It was crushed to pieces. Vivienne Beaumont nodded, then rose, and went into the bedroom. She changed into a tailored suit and picked up a handbag. I recognized it. That bag alone could buy this apartment. This was the real her, and she looked utterly out of place in this apartment. "Ryan Davis, you'll regret this. Sooner or later, you'll come begging me, get out." I roared with all my strength. Vivienne Beaumont gave me a sidelong glance, and walked straight out. After she left, I looked at her belongings in the room, feeling powerless and collapsing onto the floor. All our memories flashed before my eyes, but I couldn't believe it. Everything had been a lie. If Vivienne Beaumont ever loved me, perhaps there was a flicker of genuine affection in that moment when I helped her drive away the drunkard. But as we spent more time together, I found myself unable to see through her. She seemed indifferent to everything. Now, I realize it was because she was so wealthy that material things simply didn't matter to her anymore. I was such a fool, working 3 jobs just to be with her forever. I was just a fleeting character in her rich girl living experience. I packed up all her things, sealed them, but then didn't know where to put them. Forget it. I'll just throw them away, they only bring more trouble. Immediately, I contacted a real estate agent to find a new apartment. I couldn't sleep a wink. The next day, I went to work with dark circles under my eyes, and was immediately called into the boss office. Ryan Davis, good news. Your previous design has been approved by the Beaumont Corporation. The person in charge there wants you to be the contact. Get ready, you are going there today. I was stunned. The Beaumont Corporation. Who's the person in charge? The design department manager, Mr. Miller. You've met him before. I breathed a sigh of relief, as long as it wasn't Vivian Beaumont. Unfortunately, just as we were getting ready to meet Mr. Miller, the conference room door opened, and a graceful figure walked in. Mr. Miller quickly stood up. Miss Beaumont. Vivian Beaumont gave a slight nod, and sat directly in the main seat. You may continue, I'll just listen. My heart sank. She was doing this on purpose. The boss next to me nudged me, signaling me to continue. I clenched my fists and proceeded with the presentation. Halfway through, Vivian Beaumont tapped the table, her voice cold. Has your company considered the drawbacks of this design plan? The Sterling Heights project is for high-end clients. What you've done is too low quality. Her words made my face burn red. I then said in a deep voice, high-end clients care about their social circle. The focus of this design is on community. This area is near university faculty housing, and those resources cannot be bought with money. A true phoenix will find its worthy perch. As long as the tree is there, a phoenix will naturally land, no matter if it has wormholes. I confronted Vivian Beaumont directly. She sneered. A phoenix needs a worthy perch. But first, your tree needs to be attractive enough. You live in a low-income area yourself, yet you dream of entering the circle of the wealthy. Your design concept is utterly useless. Revise it, or your company can withdraw from the competition. Withdrawing was not an option, but with Vivian Beaumont intentionally making things difficult, how could she let me pass? Impossible. She was forcing me to beg her. But why? The design plan was my brainchild. Vivian Beaumont was right beside me when I created this plan, and she never held back on praising my design. I believed there was nothing wrong with the design itself. It was her nitpicking for flaws. Even so, I pulled myself together and made adjustments. After confirming there were no issues, I sent it to her. Almost immediately, she replied, not satisfied, revise again. I revised again. I'd seen demanding clients before, but Vivian Beaumont wasn't even the worst. I worked overtime until 7 in the evening, revised it, and sent it to her. Right after, the agent called me, saying there was a suitable apartment, and asking me to go see it. Just as I was about to leave, Vivian Beaumont's phone call came in. After much hesitation, I answered. Ms. Beaumont, is there something you need? Ryan Davis, you are the lead designer. Is this all you are capable of? Utterly low quality. If you can't do it, then quit. Before I could speak, she hung up the phone, and my blood boiled with anger. Low quality. This plan was made with her feedback fully considered. She rejected it, told me to revise, and now she's still not satisfied. So I immediately asked her on WhatsApp, Ms. Beaumont, what exactly are you dissatisfied with? After I sent it, the red exclamation mark made my heart sink. I wanted to curse. There was nothing else to do but revise again. After sending it via email, I went to look at the apartment. It was near the company, a studio, ready to move in, though small. It had everything I needed, and I didn't have many belongings anyway, so moving there would be perfect. I signed the lease immediately, but I didn't expect that an hour later, the agent called me, stammering, Mr. Davis, I'm sorry, but this apartment is no longer available for rent. What do you mean? Someone offered more money, and the landlord broke the lease. Also, your previous apartment has already been vacated. So, I took a deep breath. I didn't need a genius to figure out it was Vivian Beaumont. Only she had the power to cut off all my escape routes in such a short time. I hung up the phone, dragged my luggage, and checked into a hotel. As soon as I reached the front desk, a message on my phone made my mind buzz. Your debit card ending in 0426 was charged $300,000 on March the 12th. Current balance, $500. I had forgotten, my bank account was linked to Vivian Beaumont's authorized payment access on my debit card. In an instant, she had left me penniless. Furious, I immediately called her. After a dozen rings, It finally connected. A playful voice came from the other end. Vivian isn't available right now. Who is this? I took a deep breath and gave my name. The person on the other end said, "Oh," then in a light tone, "Vivian, your little plaything is here. He wants to see you. Tell him to come to the Verdant Club, room 355. Vivian Beaumont scoffed and then hung up the phone. I couldn't help but clench my fists. The Verdant Club was the most famous private club in this city. One bottle of wine there cost a month of my salary when I was with her. She had mentioned that the Beaumont Corporation invested in it. It seemed this was her home turf. With only 500 to spend carefully, I had no choice but to find a friend, temporarily leave my luggage with him, and then cycle to the Verdant Club. When I reached the private room door, and was about to enter, I heard laughter, both male and female voices. "Vivian, your little plaything really wants to break up. Aren't you going to try to win him back?" My heart tightened. I gripped the doorknob tightly, my legs feeling like they were filled with lead. Win him back. People always try to win me back. He doesn't deserve my effort. Exactly. Someone like him is just for life's little amusements. For him to latch onto Vivian is his greatest fortune. "Vivian, what's next?" Vivian Beaumont said casually. "Of course, I'll wait for him to come begging me. I, Vivian Beaumont, am not someone you can offend lightly. I can't wait to see him kneeling and licking." Ha 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 ha. The ensuing laughter pierced my heart. Just as I was about to go in, a strong force suddenly hit me from behind. Caught off guard, I stumbled in, directly knocking over their drinks, causing a commotion. Wine bottles shattered on the floor, and my hand landed on the broken glass, a sharp pain shooting through me. Then a shriek came. That bottle of wine was 300,000. Can you afford to pay for it? My heart jumped. I looked at the fragments under my hand, mixed with a label. I didn't understand the English on it, but I could tell it was very expensive. "My apologies. I saw you hesitating at the door and lent a hand." It was that playful voice. I looked back and saw a man in his 20s, wearing a studded leather jacket, looking rebelliously handsome, but his attitude was terrible, showing no hint of apology. He did it on purpose. Vivian Beaumont sat composed on the sofa, legs crossed, looking at me. "What? Have you finally decided to come and beg me?" I stood up and said in a low voice, "Are you trying to destroy me?" She spread her hands. "What are you talking about? And you have to pay for this bottle of wine. It was originally my purchase." I pulled out my phone. "Did you forget the payment information from earlier?" Vivian Beaumont laughed, her eyes full of charm. She clapped her hands. "Well said. In that case, drink this wine, and I'll let you go." Everyone laughed. "Hurry, hurry. The show's about to start. Come on, Miss Beaumont is giving you a chance, otherwise you won't get another. She's given you an out, take it quickly. Come, face the camera, let's get a video to remember this." They were unbridled, even setting up cameras, all sitting on the sofa, watching me make a fool of myself. Seeing me not move, Vivian Beaumont's eyes flashed with a hint of disdain. "You don't want to. Are you angry? This is the life of the rich. Ryan Davis, you are low quality, just like your design. Drink the wine, and you'll have a chance to revise it. Otherwise, pack your bags and get out." Just then, the boss called. My hand trembled, and I didn't answer. Another hand snatched my phone and pressed the answer button. The boss' enraged roar came through the phone. "Ryan Davis, what is wrong with you? If you don't want to work, then get out." He hung up, and my face turned ashen. Vivian Beaumont raised an eyebrow and sighed. "Fine, you can go. I'll just find someone else." "No, I'll drink it." Without a job, all my years of hard work would be a joke. At this point, I had no way to contend with Vivian Beaumont. I could only compromise. I knelt down on the floor, licking the wine off the ground. Sip by sip, fragments of glass mixed with the wine entered my mouth. A metallic taste of blood spread, and my cut tongue throbbed with pain. Blood mixed with saliva, and laughter filled the air around me. "Look at him. He looks like a dog. Yeah. Come on, kneel properly." They posed for photos with me. I trembled, my stomach churning. The next second, Vivian Beaumont slapped me. "I told you to drink it, so drink it. How could you be so utterly worthless?" I chuckled, my mouth full of blood. The instant I looked up at her, a fleeting look of shock flashed in her eyes. "Isn't this what you wanted? Miss Beaumont, is this enough? If not, I can continue. I made a move to kneel again. Vivian Beaumont looked impatient. Get out. I slowly stood up, retrieved my phone, covered my mouth, and rushed out. The waitstaff at the Verdant Club looked at me, startled. Are you okay? Do you need an ambulance? I shook my head, rushed to the restroom to rinse my mouth. My mouth burned with pain, so much that tears streamed down my face. Ryan Davis, why are you so useless? A waiter brought me ice to hold in my mouth. I nodded my thanks. As the ice entered my mouth, a sharp sting made me shiver. I felt completely clear-headed. The taste of blood in my mouth made me realize, Ryan Davis, you can't afford to play the rich people's game. Ryan Davis, do you regret it? Do you regret breaking up with me? Vivian Beaumont came out, like a high and mighty judge. I shook my head, no regrets. But I couldn't speak. Vivian Beaumont suddenly lost her temper, grabbed my neck, and pushed me against the wall. I want the final proposal by tomorrow morning, or you know the consequences. She released me and left without looking back. I walked out shakily. A light rain began to fall. When I returned to my friend's place, Liam Thompson saw the blood on my chest, and was so startled he almost fainted. Ryan Davis, what happened to you? Were you robbed? No, it's just the wine. He wanted to say more, but I shook my head, went into the bathroom to wash up, and then came out. My palm throbbed numbly. Liam Thompson looked at me, perplexed. When I told him what happened, he slammed his hand on the table in anger. Damn it. This is going too far. Ryan Davis, let's just quit. And that 300,000, we have to get it back. I forced a bitter smile. Look at me now. If I go back and cause trouble for her, the outcome will be even worse. I took some medicine. It hurt to swallow, making me wince. Resigned, I patted him. Forget it. I can't fight them. Once this project is over, I'll go back to my hometown. Liam Thompson was helpless. He knew Vivian Beaumont's power. If we went head to head, we had no chance of winning. The pain in my mouth made me restless. After being drenched in rain and taking medicine, my head felt foggy. I pushed through and revised the proposal, sending it off at 4 in the morning. I woke up early to catch the subway to work. When I arrived at the company, the boss informed me to go directly to the Beaumont Corporation for a detailed discussion with them. He didn't forget to remind me, Ryan Davis, this is our last chance, it's all up to you. Under the pressure from the Beaumont Corporation, the entire company was counting on this deal. I sighed faintly. If Vivian Beaumont was determined to make things difficult, there was nothing I could do. For now, I could only endure. I hoped she would lose interest in me. I took the design proposal to the Beaumont Corporation. As soon as I exited the elevator, Edward Beaumont ran into me. Property disputes among elite families were common, but Vivian Beaumont, with her socialite aura, had an outrageous amount of resources at her disposal. Edward Beaumont was far less prominent, though he also had many supporters, especially regarding the Sterling Heights project. He was the first to propose developing the Western District, showing a clear mind and foresight. In this regard, Vivian Beaumont was far behind. Edward Beaumont smiled. Mr. Davis, finally good to see you. Are you interested in a chat? I was on high alert. I had no interest in getting involved in the Beaumont family's property dispute, nor did I want to become their pawn. Edward Beaumont raised an eyebrow. I hear you dumped Vivian Beaumont. Impressive. He gave me a thumbs up. I admire that. Interested in coming to work for me. Salary is negotiable. Just as I was about to refuse, Vivian Beaumont arrived. Edward, isn't it a bit inappropriate to poach employees right in front of me? Edward Beaumont touched his nose. He's not your employee. Yes, but he's the liaison, the designer for the Sterling Heights project. Edward, you shouldn't interfere casually. Ryan Davis, wait for me in the office. I immediately went to the office, moving away from them. A moment later, Vivian Beaumont came in, looking displeased. I didn't know you, and Edward Beaumont was so close. He seems to admire you a lot. The Beaumont family's internal dynamics weren't as peaceful as they seemed on the surface. Vivian Beaumont's aura was too overwhelming, crushing everyone else. Edward Beaumont and the others had long wanted to resist, quietly building their influence and even keeping some hidden cards. Vivian Beaumont was no exception. She wanted to pressure me, and I admit, she had the power, but I was unwilling. Even an NPC has dignity. This is my first time meeting him today. Anyone with an eye for talent would recognize my ability. With a light scoff, Vivian Beaumont sneered at me. Ryan Davis, is this all you are capable of? Trying to use back channels? Think whatever you want, my conscience is clear. Is that so? IVE looked at your proposal, Vivian Beaumont said, sitting at the desk, holding my proposal and sighing with disdain. With all due respect, it's all garbage. She threw the documents at me, hitting my face. The sharp edges of the paper cut my skin, leaving a streak of blood. Vivian Beaumont was startled and immediately started to get up. I touched my face and forced a bitter smile. Don't dirty your hands. Vivian Beaumont, I broke up with you, and you are angry, but this design proposal is perfectly fine. I hope you won't mix business with personal matters. Vivian Beaumont immediately became furious, stood up, and grabbed my arm. Mix business with personal matters. Her face loomed large before me, and my mind buzzed. I only saw her mouth moving, and then my vision went black as I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, my head was splitting, and my throat was dry and hoarse. You're awake. A cold voice came from above me. Vivian Beaumont looked at me with disdain. You are sick and still pushing yourself. Are you an idiot? Is Miss Beaumont concerned about me? Dream on. I'm giving you time off. Don't forget your work when you are better. She left me and walked away, but didn't forget to hire a nurse for me. However, I couldn't afford the cost, so I left after my fever broke. I thought Vivian Beaumont would calmly continue to cooperate, but before I could return to the company, news broke that shocked the entire internet. Vivian Beaumont abuse Spower, for Sesamanita Nelandlik spilled vine. It was a video. In the footage, I was kneeling with my back to the camera, licking fragments off the floor. In the front-facing shot, only Vivian Beaumont's smooth chin was visible, but she was still identified by name. This caused a huge uproar, and Vivian Beaumont's full background was exposed. Netizens cursed her furiously. Being rich doesn't make you special. Forcing someone to kneel, that's just despicable. Support a thorough investigation. The Beaumont Corporation must be involved in tax evasion. Look at that, the evil pastimes of the rich. By the way, what did that person do to make him willing to kneel? Are you saying the victim is to blame? Adult life is full of disappointments. His kneeling was voluntary. Why blame Vivian Beaumont? Opinions varied, not only Vivian Beaumont, but I was also exposed. My past with Vivian Beaumont was sensationally revealed by insiders. In their eyes, I was portrayed as a freeloader, and Vivian Beaumont made me kneel because I had betrayed her. I was at a loss for words. Liam Thompson tried to defend me, but he was attacked by online trolls. His face turning red with anger, he openly declared that these people were inhuman. Compared to Vivian Beaumont suppressing trending topics and deleting comments, my situation seemed helpless. My background was thoroughly scrutinized, and my company was exposed. Even influencers arrived downstairs at the company with streaming equipment, ready for a live catch and expose broadcast. Before I could even go, the boss called me. He was furious, cursing me out. Ryan Davis, what is wrong with you? Do you know how long the entire company has been preparing for this project? You've ruined everything. You've severely damaged the company's image. Don't come in for the next 3 months. Consider it a leave of absence. Before I could explain, he removed me from the company's team chat. I was jobless. In this incident, Vivian Beaumont paid to remove the video and delete comments, but I was the only one who truly suffered. Sitting in Liam Thompson's small apartment, my eyes welled up with sadness. Why? She deceived me, then demanded an apology, and in the end, I was the one publicly condemned. I couldn't understand it. Liam Thompson told me that many people outside were looking for me, and advised me not to go out. I knew my phone had been ringing off the hook, and I was sick of all the abusive messages. I just couldn't understand what I had done wrong. They said I was base, that I sacrificed my dignity for money. In the world of the rich, what was a common person's dignity worth? Nothing. The narrative around Vivian Beaumont making me kneel was reversed, and all fingers pointed at me. I took a deep breath and sent Vivian Beaumont a message. She didn't reply. Her phone was always busy. I understood. She was being harassed too. But the next day, I saw the news of her engagement to Julian Steele on the screen. The rebelliously handsome man smiling was the very person who pushed me into the room that night. So he was Julian Steele. Netizens seemed to have forgotten the previous incident, and were full of praise. They are a perfect match. This is the man worthy of our darling girl. I knew it. How could Vivian Beaumont ever like that man? That entitled freeloader is shameless. Good riddance that they broke up. Speaking of that freeloader, he must regret it now, right? He's probably crying in some forgotten corner. A crowd of people flooded my social media account, humiliating and cursing me endlessly. I was powerless to argue and didn't want to say anything more. I simply deactivated my account and blocked all social media platforms. Liam Thompson was filled with righteous indignation and wanted to drag me to the Beaumont Corporation to demand an explanation, but I held him back firmly. It's not worth it. I'm just an ordinary person. Resisting capital is simply not a wise thing to do. Liam Thompson looked at me, disappointed. So you are just going to let them bully you like this? They are slandering you, and you are just going to do nothing. Ryan Davis, I know you are not that kind of person, but you also need to consider that if your reputation is ruined, it will be difficult for you to enter this industry, or find another job in the future. How could I not know? But no matter what I said, there were always online trolls intervening to control the narrative. I was no match for them, and I couldn't even reach Vivian Beaumont. Liam Thompson, however, wouldn't be deterred. He dragged me and created a PowerPoint presentation, detailing every single moment of my relationship with Vivian Beaumont, uploading it anonymously. His intentions were good, but I couldn't implicate him, so I replied underneath the post, I am not a freeloader. All this time, Vivian Beaumont and I had been splitting expenses. Most of the gifts were from me. Everything Vivian Beaumont gave me, I had packed and left in my old small apartment, taking no advantage whatsoever. I underestimated the online trolls and also underestimated the Beaumont Corporation's determination to crush me. After the PowerPoint was uploaded, netizens cursed me, repeating the same old line, I was just trying to ride the wave of popularity. Liam Thompson came back from work the next day with a bloody head, leaving me stunned. It turned out he was recognized on his way to work and had his head smashed. People calling him two of a kind with me. My anger reached its peak. They could target me, but they couldn't hurt my friends. I used his phone to call Vivian Beaumont, and thankfully, she answered this time. Vivian Beaumont, let's talk. Vivian Beaumont was silent for a long time. I quickly said, we had a relationship. I loved you and don't regret it. Can't we even meet to talk? Perhaps my tone was too low, making Vivian Beaumont fear I might do something drastic. She casually agreed to meet me. It was at the Verdant Club again. I had prepared myself before going. Liam Thompson was worried and wanted to come along, but I stopped him. Security was tight inside the Verdant Club. No one would be able to break in. Indeed, when I arrived, besides Vivian Beaumont, Julian Steele was also there. I hadn't expected him to be there. Meeting Julian Steele's half smile, I couldn't help but clench my fists. Can you clarify something? I'm not in that kind of relationship with you. Vivian Beaumont said nothing. Julian Steele, on the other hand, laughed. What kind of relationship? Is what the internet says wrong? You and Vivian were together just because you wanted her money. Being with her could save you 20 years of struggle. I know your type very well. It's a good thing our Vivian is smart and didn't fall for your trap. He said this while putting his arm around Vivian Beaumont's shoulders, caressing her shoulder. Vivian Beaumont raised an eyebrow. He's right. That single sentence shattered all the warmth of our past. I shook my head. That's not true. You know very well. Vivian Beaumont cut me off. Ryan Davis, you are the first man to break up with me. You should know the consequences. But you can't ignore the facts. Yes, I broke up with you, but you deceived me first. More than anything, you shouldn't have let netizens cyberbully me and my friends. Hurting me is one thing, but my friends are innocent. I grew agitated. Julian Steele looked displeased. Who are you talking to? Is this how you beg for something? I clenched my jaw. Tell me, what do you want me to do to get a clarification? Simple. Kneel and beg me until I'm satisfied. Those were Julian Steele's words. I looked at Vivian Beaumont. She frowned slightly. Is that necessary? What? Are you feeling sorry for him? Not sorry. It's just a waste of time for him. Ryan Davis, you should go back. I'll think about it. Vivian Beaumont was angry. Julian Steele stood up, adjusting his clothes. All right, I'll let you off the hook today. Kid, consider yourself lucky. After he left, Vivian Beaumont grabbed my chin, patted my face, and said, "Behave yourself from now on, don't provoke me easily, I'll take care of the online mess for you." Her words alone were enough. Who knew Julian Steele wouldn't let me go? As I walked out of the Verdant Club, I was ambushed and severely beaten by people, who covered me with a sack, and I subsequently passed out from the pain. I don't know how long passed before I woke up. I opened my eyes to see a smiling face. Julian Steele waved his hand, and immediately someone doused me with a bucket of ice water, making me shiver. Ryan Davis, do you know? Vivian is still hung up on you. As my fiancé, she shouldn't be thinking about you. Only when you are gone will she truly love me. You maniac. You are all maniacs. Julian Steele, this is illegal. I roared. Julian Steele laughed. Who knows, I tied you up. Let him enjoy himself. Julian Steele gave the order. The burly men around him advanced on me, their clubs raining down like a storm. Pain surged through me. It felt like every bone in my body was broken. I don't know when it stopped. A red haze covered my eyes, and dimly, I heard sharp sirens and confused footsteps. When I regained consciousness, the first thing I saw was Liam Thompson's anxious face. Though my vision was very blurry. "You're awake, how do you feel?" I wanted to speak, but my head throbbed terribly. I couldn't help but gasp, and breathing was difficult due to the pain in my chest. Liam Thompson quickly shouted, "Doctor! Doctor!" The doctor came in, examined me, and then pulled Liam Thompson outside. I didn't know what they discussed. However, a news report came from a radio nearby. Police have apprehended suspects in a malicious assault case. The mastermind, Julian Steele, is at large. The victim is currently still unconscious. This case is related to the previous Beaumont Corporation cyberbullying case. I didn't hear the rest. My ears just buzzed. It took a while before I was fully conscious. Liam Thompson told me what happened later. That day, he had secretly followed me, saw Julian Steele's group take me away, and then called the police. Trailing them, he got lost on the way, and by the time he found me, I was already unconscious. Liam Thompson's group had severely beaten me. My head was seriously injured, and there was still a blood clot in my brain, pressing on my optic nerve. My eyes were at risk of blindness. I was a designer. If I couldn't see, how could I ever draw again? When I heard this news, I was stunned. The pain in my heart was numb. Liam Thompson also brought me news that Vivian Beaumont wanted to see me. I shook my head. I didn't want to see her. Our relationship was a mistake from the very beginning. Midway, I got off the car and started a new journey. Despite the risks, I insisted on following my own path. Now that I was on my own, I didn't want to see her again. But Vivian Beaumont persisted, guarding my hospital room door all day. Liam Thompson would curse her out whenever he saw her. She never talked back. She just found various specialists to treat me, and brought me 3 meals a day. During a moment when Liam Thompson stepped out, Vivian Beaumont slipped in. When she saw me, her eyes turned red. "Ryan Davis, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Saying this now is meaningless. Is Miss Beaumont here to mock me?" I forced a bitter smile. Vivian Beaumont quickly apologized. "No, it's not like that. I've already clarified things for you. I just don't believe in love. Ryan Davis, I was born into the Beaumont family, a family devoid of warmth. From a young age, I was taught that my marriage was not my own to decide, which is why I wanted to test if there was anyone in this world who truly loved me. Ryan Davis, I know I was terribly wrong. Please, please forgive me. I will take good care of you from now on." My heart was still. "Ms. Beaumont, there's no need for this. Before, I truly loved you. But from the moment you deceived me, I stopped having any hope for you. I even thought about giving you a chance. You made me kneel, and even got engaged to provoke me, and I didn't care. But you shouldn't have laid a hand on my friends. Vivian Beaumont, just be a decent human being, a normal person." With a mere wave of her hand, I could be sent to hell. Her apology now was nothing more than fear. Liam Thompson had already told me that he had exposed everything, including Vivian Beaumont concealing her identity and deceiving me, draining all my money, and even making things difficult for me, causing me to lose my job, just as fiercely as netizens cursed me then. They cursed Vivian Beaumont now, causing the entire Beaumont Corporation stock price to fall. The head of the Beaumont family was furious, never expecting Vivian Beaumont to bring such a disaster this time. Edward Beaumont seized the opportunity to take over Vivian Beaumont's projects, leaving her with no way out. My former employer also exposed Vivian Beaumont for repeatedly making things difficult for me using her position, and even released the proposals I had created. It wasn't about making money, it was about disgusting and aggravating them. Vivian Beaumont's social media accounts were so bombarded with curses from netizens that she had to disable comments. Still, countless people sent protest symbols to her home and even her company. I couldn't see Vivian Beaumont's face clearly, but Liam Thompson told me she had grown much thinner and more haggard. She used to be high and mighty, toying with people. Now, she was a changed person, looking 10 years older. I lay in bed, my head throbbing intermittently. Sometimes I'd fall asleep in a daze, and wake up still confused. From Liam Thompson's anxious tone, I knew my condition wasn't good, and that I was conscious at all was purely due to luck. Most of the time, I was sleepy. Vivian Beaumont said she would do everything to help me, but I had Liam Thompson drive her away. I didn't want to see her. Finally, I directly asked the doctor how much longer I had. I felt my moments of clarity were growing shorter, and only a faint glimmer remained in my vision. The doctor was silent for a long time before telling me, soon. I knew he didn't know when I would fall asleep, and never wake up again. Liam Thompson held my hand. His voice choked. Ryan Davis, the most talented designer I've ever known, he said, he'll stay with you until the end. I squeezed his fingers. I was so grateful to still have a friend who cared for me so deeply, but there wasn't much time left. I asked Liam Thompson to do 3 things for me. First, I entrusted him with suing Vivian Beaumont to recover that $300,000. I wanted $15,000 for him, and the remaining $30,000 donated. I was an orphan. I had no parents. All I ever wanted was a home. Now that I wouldn't need it, I wanted it donated to those in need. Second, I wanted everything related to Vivian Beaumont cut off. I hoped that even after I was gone, she wouldn't disturb my peace. Third, I wanted to leave with a clear conscience. I wanted to report the Verdant Club's illicit dealings. The clues were with the servers. Liam Thompson agreed. As my consciousness faded, I thought I heard Vivian Beaumont's cries, but it was already too faint to make out. After I died, my soul floated in the air, watching Liam Thompson sue on my behalf and recover the $300,000. Vivian Beaumont knelt, begging Liam Thompson to tell her where my grave was, but Liam Thompson harshly rebuked her. Reporters were waiting outside the courthouse, snapping photos of Vivian Beaumont's disgrace. In a rage, Beaumont Corporation sent Vivian Beaumont abroad. Vivian Beaumont tried to escape mid-journey, but was struck by a car, her legs crushed, leaving her permanently disabled. Ironically, the driver was Julian Steele. He was already deranged. When he was arrested, the Steele family disowned him, and Julian Steele would spend the rest of his life in prison. I drifted on, until I finally dispersed into the wind. In my next life, I want a home.